What's going on, guys? Boy, do I have a treat for you today. Working with me today is I have Mr. Rocket, and what we're going to be working on is we're going to start a series for you guys, how to take your horse from two-handed to one-handed. What are the benefits of being one-handed? What's the awesomeness? You only have to use half of your hands to get a free hand to do so much for mounted archery, for shooting, for roping, for polo, anything you're going to do, having that free hand is really going to help you. But to do that, we have to take our horse that we currently have and go from him riding around two-handed like a colt start to him riding around one-handed. So if you have an English horse that's been English your whole life, that's fine. If you have a gaited horse that's gaited, that's fine. If you have a young colt like Rocket here, that's a Percheron Rocky Cross, that's fine. Whatever horse you have, that's fine, no problem. So the place that he's at, he's a young colt and he's riding around two-handed. So basically I just point his head wherever I want to go, mostly using the inside rein. So if I want to go right, I pull right and that's how he gets there. I want to change that and I want to start using the outside rein. So we're just going to start with a little pivoting. Pivoting is where everything starts. So what I want to do is I want to start looking to the right. He already understands because of power of the circle and control of the head, control of the horse, that when I look a direction, we want to turn that way. Also, he knows that the outside rein and that outside leg is a warning before the inside rein steers him that way. So now we're going to start seeing if we can get him to pivot. And what I want to be able to do is melt to the right and release. Melt to the right. And what I'm trying to do here is I'm starting to put a repercussion in that outside rein. His whole career so far, his short career, the outside rein has just been a suggestion. But now I want to start making it a repercussion. What does that mean? When I turn him here, instead of bending his head all the way around, I want to start pointing my hand this way, but the outside rein catching him before he can turn his head completely, before he can flex. What's that going to do? That's going to get him steering with his shoulders. The reason that there's so many reining horses that are bridleless than English horses or gaited horses is because gaited horses don't really steer with their front end. They kind of follow their body around like the front of a boat. Like they're a bow and they have to make this big loopy turn. Western horses, they guide with their shoulders and pivot on their haunches. They move their shoulders, they keep their butt stationary. What that allows them to do is be very handy and be able to immediately pivot and get where they're going. If you have a two-handed horse, the first step is already getting them where I touch them here and I start warning them, hey, we're turning this direction. Hey, we're turning this direction. But now I want to start locking that inside hand up. Whenever I do this and I have this outside hand here and I'm locking it up, I don't want it to cross over the neck. I want it to be a solid boundary. So my hand's locked in here. So when I start turning here, there we go. Open my right hand, my right leg. There we go. So that first time that he ran into it, he didn't like that. So now he's starting to move his shoulders instead of trying to run into my bridle. And I'm doing it with a snaffle with shanks. But you can do this with a halter, you can do this with a snaffle. But Michael, you're still using two hands. Yes, I realize that. But we have to crawl before we walk. And before we can go one-handed, he has to understand what I'm asking of him. So we're setting him up for success. Every time that I do this, look at how his front end steps over. That's what we're looking for. Notice how I've done everything to the right, getting him nicer and easier, one direction. So he's just getting the idea of what this means. Now, I'm going to start opening my inside rein less and less, and I'm going to start drawing it more towards the seam of my jean in my pocket. But again, I'm not letting him flex. My outside hand here locking up against his withers is keeping him from flexing. So the only other option he has to come off of that pressure to get a release is to move his shoulders. The other thing that's real important is just like we've shown you, hey, the horse should move away. Oh, the horse should move to the void. When I take this leg off, that's telling him, hey, this leg's about to come on. So when I crack that door open, either leg, he has a warning. He has a moment there where he can step in that direction and then this leg and this spur doesn't touch him. So this is really going to speed up the process of really using my legs a lot through this process, going from two hands to one hand, because now when I'm looking and leaning, I take that leg off, he has a big warning that we're going in that direction. Notice how close my hands have gotten now and how they're working together, as opposed to opening up here. If this young colt needs that help, I'm happy to open this hand up here for him to understand. Wait for him to step over. But I prefer to step here. Now what we're gonna start doing that's really gonna help him is we'll walk somewhere, I'll look at a post of the arena and release. Look at a horse and release. And when I say release, that means ride straight, both 2 hands, 2 legs. There we go. Nice. So the only thing that's happening here whenever I'm changing directions, I'm riding straight to a horse, I look at the gate, open up my right leg, and he's getting there. Perfect. All right, now we're gonna start going to the right, one-handed, and release. Whenever I'm starting this process and I actually go one-handed, I wanna go one-handed with the hand that I'm going. So since I'm turning to the right, I wanna use my right hand and release. Every time that I release, I wanna bring my hand right back to his withers, letting him know, hey, that means go straight. Also, I don't want to turn until he's going straight. So if he's thinking about turning more, I want to ride him until he straightens out. I have 2 legs on him, I have 1 hand on him. Now my right hand slides over to the right and release. Look at this leg, watch it close. There we go. If he overcorrects, you can use that second hand as a repercussion. What I mean overcorrects, if he keeps turning whenever you tell him to stop, hope. The more every time that I make a straight line and make a turn, that's another rep. Bump. The other thing that I want you to keep in mind, if he gets stuck, don't try to pull him over, bump him over. So if that horse gets stuck, I want to bump, 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 bump. There we go. Bump, bump. Good boy. Bump, bump. Now I want you guys to keep watching this series. We'll probably make 3 or 4 videos on it, and you'll see just how one-handed he's getting. So this is day 1 of him going one-handed. Notice everything that we just did, the whole 5 minutes that we've been working on this, everything has been to the right. So since we've been doing that, he's been able to notice, wait a second, it's the same turn, it's the same turn. The more we set up a pattern for him, the more we're setting him up for success. The better we can do that, the quicker he'll pick it up. And the reason that quickness is important to me, and I don't hear it being used a lot in the horse industry, learning quickness is important because that means I'm being very clear to the horse. So instead of 1 turn here, 1 turn there, 1 turn here, 1 turn there, if I turn right, and then I turn right, and I turn right, and then I turn right, and then I turn right, he has an idea of what's coming. He did so good at that, and he actually got from 2 hands where I'm guiding like this, locking the outside rein in and bringing that right hand over here to, okay, now I'm just opening the right hand this much to, okay, I'm bringing both hands to the right. Now I'm on my right hand. The thing that helps so much is he's really guiding off my legs. He's been through power of a circle, and he's already learning how to come off of that leg and go the direction that we're asking him to go, which is really gonna help that process out. Make sure that you've been through power of a circle, and make sure in power of a circle that you're already setting this up. The video that you guys will see, move towards the void, which means move towards the open door when that leg comes off and move away from pressure, is constantly giving them the opportunity before they get pressured. So whenever I step him, now whenever I do this to the left, you'll be able to see this very well. Right here, my legs are relaxed on him. Watch whenever I switch or I ask him to turn, I'm gonna look left, and then my left leg is coming off. He's already thinking left. So same thing here. Basically I have to start from scratch again because he wants to flex to the left as opposed to moving his shoulders. And this is a big boy. If he can do it, anybody can do it. The big misconception is that you drag horses around whenever you one-hand them. You do not want to do that. You want to have a horse that's light and easy. And the way that you're going to keep your horse light and easy through this whole process is really setting him up for success. So every little layer of training that he's had up to this point has set him up to be successful in this moment. And that's why you see him being able to pick it up just lickety split. He passed first grade so good that he was already set up for second, second for third, third for fourth, so on and so forth. So if you try this at home, you'll be able to get your two-handed horse one-handed. And it's amazing, once you get your horse one-handed, especially one-handed at a canter, how many opportunities for discipline show up, how many sports you can play, how many things you can do with your horse if your horse can one hand. So that's how we take a horse from two hands to one hand. This is the first video of the series, and I'll be bringing you some more. Thanks again. See you next video.